Good evening and welcome to another learning journey. We are on this road together and we thank God for all that we're learning on this journey. Lee, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's so great to be here once again. And I'm so
Yes.
excited to be here with Mary to this evening to talk about all the good things that she's doing in her ministry. It's just a wonderful thing. So it's great to be here, even on this 9/11, where some people are sharing some other feelings or so as we reminisce on what happened some years ago. It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you brought that up 911. I remember when, being from New York and we remember those days and how it impacted us. And, we'll never forget the lives that were lost. So thank you for bringing that to our
Mhm.
memories. But anyway, Learning Journey, we're glad to be with you tonight. We have a special guest. As last week we talked about, the last time we were on here, we talked about empathy and how we empathize. Remember, we're on the journey with you. So we're
Mhm.
learning as we go along. And this evening, we thought we'd have a special guest with us. Mary Moore Smith, she is the founder and the CEO of the Lifter of Our Head Transitional Home. And that just stays with me. If you've ever been through some depression, you know God is the lifter of your head because there are days where you can't get out of the bed. There are days when you can't focus with depression, just being in those dumps. And God is always the lifter of our heads. So we thank God for all that He's doing and for all that He's doing through Mary and her ministry. She has a transitional home for women who are imprisoned, and when they come out, they're transitioning from the inside back into society. And we thought that this would be a great uh, show for Mary to do for us because when we think about incarcerated, 9 times out of 10, you think about men. Well, you know what? Mary works with the women. And it's a great impact when a woman is incarcerated, when she's arrested. Look at the impact to the family, look at the impact to the children. It's so many different things. If she is the breadwinner, look at that. So, Mary, we welcome you today, and we want you to talk about how you got involved in the social justice movement, getting involved in, the women's side of ministry with imprisonment and jail. How did you get involved with that, Mary?
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Lee, for having me. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here to speak about something that is so dear to my heart for the last
Mhm.
12 years. I
Yes.
got involved through my church, Northland Church, and
Mhm.
at that time, my pastor was Pastor Joe, and he
Mhm.
invited the chaplain into our church, and he asked if he could get 100 people to come in and being interested in listening to the chaplain, maybe interested in getting involved in the prison ministry. At that time, we didn't
Mhm.
have a prison ministry. So he ended up with 200 people. He was very pleased. So I
Mhm.
started by going to the
Wow.
prison. Yes. So I started by
200.
going to the prison. And it was, first of all, we listened to the chaplain and we had to get, once we signed up, we had to get approved and background checked and so forth. Well, our first time to the prison, we had two passenger bus loads of women going to the women prison. It
Wow.
was it
Wow.
was awesome. It was awesome. Well, unfortunately, it didn't last that way. We're down to two people now.
Mhm.
But
Mm.
Wow.
but when you know that you know that you know that
Yes.
something is for you, then you stick to it.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
no
Yes.
matter what, there was times when I was, Ocala's almost 2 hours ride from me. So
Mhm.
from my journey to the church and from the church to Ocala, it is 2 hours.
Mhm.
There were days when no one would show up and I would get in that van and drive by myself.
Mhm.
Amen.
It became a passion.
And a mission. God had appointed you for that
Mhm.
mission.
He certainly did. So I go to lower prison and it's in Ocala, Florida. There's 3,000 women there and three women,
Wow.
three women on death row.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a sad situation. I meet women from all backgrounds, nationalities. It is amazing. We started going there to teach a class, and it's called Healing Through Art. So it's this 12-week class, and we go there every Wednesday for 12 weeks. And we teach these women, then they get a certificate with their picture on it, and they're just so proud and so happy that they made it through the class. And it changed their lives in a lot of different ways. And there's 2 women who are out, and I still hear from them. And one of them was so pleased with the class that she and her husband flew themselves to St. Louis, Missouri, and became certified to teach the class themselves. And now she's working in prison up in Tallahassee area. So it is life changing. So
That
it's
is
been great.
awesome.
Yes, it is awesome. Some of the women that I meet, just last year we started taking short sentence, and those are women who have 1 to 3 years. So the chaplain opened up for us to start taking them. So we can't take short sentence and general population at the same time. So it's 2 different times. So it's been really a great thing. It's amazing what people go through, Len and Lee. It's just
Yes.
incredible to think about why they became incarcerated in the first place.
What are some of those reasons, Mary, that they become incarcerated? I know you get to see them one on one and talk with them. What are
Mhm.
some of the reasons, and how does it affect the family when the woman is incarcerated or arrested?
Well, first of all, a lot of the women who come to prison, they're single moms.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it is
Wow.
amazing. It's because of domestic violence is why they're there. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to give you an example of some of the things that people go through, and
Mm-hmm.
how it comes to that point where you said, I can't take it anymore. And
Yes.
they end up committing murder, killing the husband or the boyfriend. There was one, I won't call her name, of course. She was just completely traumatized. So he beat her, he broke a jawbone, cracked the ribs. Just she went through so many things, and she ended up killing him. And when
Self-defense.
self-defense. After she killed him, she cut his head off.
Woo.
And she put
Gruesome.
it in a
Wow.
bag. She put it in a bag, and she took it to Publix, to the meat counter.
To the
She
meat
had
count.
really had enough.
Wow. Wow.
And
Yes,
she
she did.
gave the man the bag, and she said, could you weigh this for me? And when he opened up the bag, he passed out.
Wow.
I mean, she had snapped, completely snapped.
Yeah, she
Wow.
had.
And it's sad that it has to come to that point
Yes.
where
Yes.
someone would commit a violent murder that way. Because
Yes.
she said he beat her for 16 years.
Wow. Wow.
So she snapped. And just one of the stories of encounter that we've had. And there's one more I would like to share. This lady, he beat her so bad, this was her husband, that when the police came to the house, he drug her outside. And since he didn't kill her, they talked to him and left.
Wow. Oh my God. That's something. These are the things that are just so hard, to
Yes.
deal with. And I get it because I'm an advocate for domestic violence, being a therapist. So I hear these things, and people would not believe what you hear. And now you're hearing it firsthand, like I do. And it's something out there. There's a cry for help sometimes,
Yes,
and
it
there's
is.
no help out there, you know. And so people take, things into their own hands sometimes, and that's what happens. Wow. That's really hard.
Because Lynn, it becomes a matter of life and death.
Yes.
If they
Yes.
didn't take it in their own hand, they would end up being dead. They would
Yes.
end up dying. So it's so sad that when it is self-defense, why do a woman end up doing 27, 30 years?
Yes.
The
Exactly.
rules are different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Different set of
Yeah.
rules.
Yes. And and that's why I thought it was so important to let our public know it's not just men that are incarcerated. There is a great impact When women are incarcerated, who's going to take the kids? Does
Yes.
that mean the grandmother has to take the kids?
You know,
Who's going to take the kids? Does that
yeah.
mean the father now has to take the kids?
Hmm.
So look at who suffers. It's suffering all the way around. And that is something, with incarceration, mothers go through, fathers go through, brothers and sisters go through as well,
Mhm.
with incarceration. I know for my sons, they go through when their brother is incarcerated, they feel that impact. It impacts them as well. So,
Yes.
it's something, incarceration. It is really something.
Yes. It impacts the entire family.
It
Yes.
does.
Yes.
And then you see these women who cannot see their child,
Yes. Yes.
It's
or
hard.
there's no one to bring them to prison to visit them,
Mhm.
to bring
Mhm.
the children to visit them. It impacts them a lot.
Yes.
A lot of times when we're going through our class, and it depends on what the assignment is, and you would say, journal what you feeling, or go where would you like to be right now? I'll
Mhm.
tell you 9 times out of 10, it's always with my child.
Yes.
Mm.
It's
And
not
that's hard
on the
for
beach,
you.
or if they want to go to the beach, they want to be with their children. It's
Yes.
always with their children.
And that's hard for you because you have to support them through this, to hear this constantly. What
Mhm.
toll does that have on you, Mary?
When I first started, it had a great toll. But I
Okay.
had to learn, when you work, you know how it feels, the both
Yeah,
of you work in this business, you can't bring it home with you.
you can't.
That's right.
You have to disconnect.
You have to disconnect. And I had to learn to do that
Yes.
by praying with them constantly and encouraging them, which brings a lot of joy to my heart.
Yes.
When they would say, Miss Mary, I enjoyed this class so much. It
Mhm.
really gives me something to do. Or when we're able to teach them to breathe, deep breathe,
Mm.
and stretch,
Mm.
so
Yes.
that
Mm.
it. And Lynn and Lee, there is in the where I go, there's dorms, not cells.
Hmm.
80 to 82 women in one dorm.
Wow.
Wow.
There's bunk beds lined up completely around the dorm, and then lined up down the middle of the floor.
Mm.
Wow.
No privacy. They can reach over arm length and touch the bed next to them. So when you have to teach them how to get away, how to go somewhere different in their mind.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
we teach them how to deep breathe it, and we teach them how to stretch, and we teach them, hey, if you want to go somewhere, you can do it.
Mhm.
Mindfulness. Yes.
Yes,
You
do
have to
it.
be mindful. Yes. And
And that
that's
on
easy.
the first day is when we teach them this, so that they can have something to do to teach them what to do. And they go back to the dorm, and some ladies who are interested in teaching class, they can share it with them. And they
Yes.
come back and say, I taught my bunkie how to breathe. And she loved it. And it's
That's
just so
wonderful.
beautiful to be
Mhm.
able to see the difference. You know
Mhm.
that, and that
Yes.
you can impact in someone else's life.
Mhm.
Exactly. There's a goodness that you feel.
It
And
Mm.
that's why
really,
Leah and I started this support group, because we want to help other individuals, other loved ones of the arrested and incarcerated, by supporting them. We know what you're going through. We understand. We empathize. We're
yeah,
here for you. Let
yeah,
us hear from you. You
yeah.
mentioned something that I'm so impressed with. The first day, Pastor Joel called out, he got 200 visitors, 200 volunteers. Let us
Double.
get 200 volunteers on Our Lessons Learned. Please go to ourlessonslearned.org
Double
and
the
sign up
extra.
to help us.
Mm.
We
Yes,
would love to
Amen.
hear from you. This
Mhm.
is what a community program is all about, and
mhm,
getting the community. We're here to help the community. We're here to help you. And while we're helping you, we're also a beacon in helping the community.
yes,
So we would love to have volunteers. We have our annual race that's coming up, Run for Justice. Sign up for it. Donate. We're a nonprofit, a 501c3, and Mary, you are too. We
yes.
need donations to operate. We're new in this field, so we're
Amen.
learning as we
Yeah,
go along. but that's impressive. 200 volunteers.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Beautiful.
Wonderful. How did you start getting into, was your jaunt with the legal system and into the jail ministry, did it start with the church, or did you always, were you called to do this prior to?
Well, I want to say yes and no. It
Okay.
started with me actively being involved
Okay.
when my brother was incarcerated.
Okay.
I had
Wow.
two brothers incarcerated at
Wow.
the same time for
Hmm.
committing the same crime at the same
Wow.
time.
Wow.
At this particular time, I was married to a military guy, and we were living in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I called home to say, "Merry Christmas, Mom." And she burst out crying.
Oh.
And I said, "Mom, what is it? I thought someone had died." And she said, "Your brothers are in jail."
Oh.
It hit me like a ton of bricks.
Both brothers. That was
Both,
a double impact for your mom.
yes, it was.
Wow.
Both brothers in jail. At this time, they weren't in prison, but they were in jail. And she started crying, and she told me she couldn't go into details. She was just distraught of what had. They committed a home invasion.
Okay.
One of them was a getaway driver, and my brother and his friend was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the man came upstairs. They didn't think anyone was home because the house was dark. And the other brother stabbed the guy in the stomach. Thank God he didn't pass away.
Wow.
Wow.
But from that incident, New York, it was Jewish.
Yeah.
So it was a Jewish judge, Jewish jury, Jewish lawyer. They didn't have a chance. And they said, "We're going to make an example out of you." And they did.
Yes.
They gave the one brother that stabbed the guy 25 years.
Wow.
And the other one had 7 to 12 years. He did 7, and he was able to get out because he was a getaway driver. But for Savannah, my brother, who I know he doesn't mind me sharing his story.
Yes.
Because God has made a great difference in his life now.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
But
Yeah.
every time he went up for parole, the family said, "No, leave him in there." And they left him in there. So when he got to the point, he was about 19 years, I told him, "Don't go to parole anymore. Just do your time."
Mm-hmm.
That way, when you get out, you are a free man.
Yes.
You have to be on probation. And that's what he did. Well, prior to that, him getting out, my mom passed away.
Mm.
She spoke to me. I was in Panama this time. And she called me and she said, "Do me a favor. Please." She said, "The Lord is about to take me home." She said, "Don't forget about your brother." I'm sorry. Oh.
It's
That's
okay.
hard, Mary.
She said,
It's
"Don't
okay.
forget about your brother." And I said, "Mom," and the whole time, my sisters and I, we supported him by sending him packages and so forth.
Yes.
His entire 25 years. And I said, "Mom, I promise when it's time for him to get out, I will fly to New York and bring him to Florida." And that's what I did. And he stayed with me for about 3 years.
Wow.
Got on his feet. I was in a prayer group. I used to ask for prayer for my brother, and they wanted to meet him. So they said, "Do you think he would come to the prayer group? We would like to meet him." So he came the next week with me, and the guy, he just fell in love with Savannah. And he says, "I know someone that owns a roofing company." So he calls him right there, picks up the phone, and he said, "Hey, man, I just met this wonderful young man. He just got out of prison. Do you have a position?" And the guy said, "I don't have any position." He said, "Well, make one."
Wow. Okay.
And he said, "Have him come and see me in the morning."
All
And
right.
Savannah worked on that job for 3 years.
Mm.
Today, he just moved to Omaha, Nebraska,
Mhm.
because we had a niece there, and he got on his feet. And then he says, "I want to move somewhere else." So now he's in Spokane, Washington, working for a university out there as a prep person in the kitchen.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
he is doing fantastic.
Wonderful.
Oh.
God is good.
Yes.
Yes,
And
it
he
is.
was allowed a
Yes, it is.
second chance.
Yes.
A lot of
Mm.
times, Mary, I can see
Yes,
now
ma'am.
the preparation that you went through in
Mhm.
this, transition home and in your ministry with the women, because you dealt with it
Yeah.
as a daughter for your mom. And now I understand, boy, your mom went through a lot having two at the same time. I can't imagine because I know what the one does to you, Lee. I know
Yeah.
you can attest to that, you know, but
Oh,
having
yes.
two sons in the system, that is very hard. I just appreciate all the support and everything you do. And yours is firsthand because, it hit the family. So,
Hmm.
you are now using what it did with your family to help other families by the
Yes.
tradition, by the transition home, the transition home. And that is very important
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
when they're on the inside, everything is structured and they're told when to eat, when to do this, and when to do that. So when they get out, they don't know how to really react in
Yes.
community. So with your transition home, you prepare them for certain things such as job skills and things of that nature.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that
Hmm.
moving story about your mom and
Oh, yes.
how it affected your family, because that's what we're here to support people.
Hmm.
And you can't
Hmm.
support them unless you've been through something, because
Hmm.
as Lee talked about last week, the empathy, you have to grab that empathy and understand what they're going through
Mm.
in order to support them. We have some questions for you, Mary.
Okay.
Someone put down that's the kind of rehabilitative cycle that needs to be modeled in more prisons. Teach the skill they can use and live from. Yes, in your
Hmm.
transitional home, um, are you teaching any life skills or anything that they can use on the outside?
Absolutely. First, they go to Job Corps.
Okay,
Well, ready is it's called Ready to Work,
right.
and then Ready to Work. I think it's about 3 month program. Then they help them to transition into a job, whether
Okay,
it's
That's
fast food or
wonderful.
whatever it is to help them to get on their feet.
right.
And then, of course, they have to pay rent because you have to teach them to be responsible. This
Yes,
is
That's
not a
right.
free ride. Life is not a free ride.
that's right.
That's
It's
it.
not. It's not.
So, yes, so, and those things are all in order prior to interviewing them before they come out. There's an application they have to fill out, and there's
Yes,
questions they have to answer, and we have to see if they're a good fit.
yes.
Because
That's
if
it.
I say to them,
That's it.
curfew is at 9 o'clock, like 9 o'clock,
Hmm.
you know you're not a good fit. That means you're
Exactly.
not ready to follow the rules.
Right.
Exactly. And
You have
another
to be
thing,
ready.
yes,
Yes, you do.
you, another thing, Mary, is that when you're arrested, you can be in the jail situation until your hearing
That's
and
right.
until your trial. And that could be a couple of years, it could be a couple of months. So even transitioning from jail, from the arrest to maybe you're getting out or whatever, but look at all the time you spent in the jail system, and reintegrating in today's society is different. I think about my son, 12 years so far. Look at technology. Technology has changed. Look at the
Hmm.
way that, things are just different, and it's getting them up to par and up to speed again. And that is important, making connections and being with people in this movement are very important. Lee and I would like to let you know that we have now connected with the Bail Project. And the Bail Project is a organization that helps with bail. For instance, if your loved one is arrested, we will connect you with a bail bondsman or the Bail Project. We will
Yes.
connect you, our lessons learned, we will connect you with legal advice, an attorney. And that is so important. Please visit our website at ourlessonslearned.org. We are partnering with community leaders, we are partnering with the community. We just are partnering with Emily Tells All, and she is one of the commissioners in the 5th District. And we were lucky to do an interview with her and how she's now getting involved with social justice, because as you well know, there needs to be some changes in the
Mm.
social justice. And
Absolutely.
we are trying to branch out to universities and helping with, parents who have sent their children to college and they may be in another state. Well, God forbid if something happens, who are they going to call? Call our lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
We will help you with whatever you need. You know why? Because we've been there. So we know the journey that you must go on. We can walk with you on that journey. So
Mm-hmm.
Mary, you have a very important program, and someone else put on here, when the woman becomes arrested or they become uh incarcerated, what happens to the children? They may become wards of the state to further traumatize and dismantle the family structure. They
Yes.
go into, if nobody will take the children, guess what happens? They're going to go to foster.
States. Mm-hmm.
And that is hard. So,
Yes.
you know, these things that we're trying to do, we're helping the community and the city of Orlando and the surrounding communities. And I thank you for the mission that you're on, because, you know, when God gives us the vision of what to do, sometimes we're a little slow in saying yes
Yes.
because we don't know what's involved. But once you step out, I
Yes.
have never been happier in helping people along the journey with mental health, bringing down their anxiety and helping them with their trauma. And then you go into another aspect of it by being there with them firsthand, one
Yes.
on one. And you know what? The Bible says, when I was in prison, you came and visited me. So
Yes.
I thank you for the work that you do, Mary. It is so important. And we would love to have you back on here again to talk about, you know, your transition home and how many people you've helped so far and the different testimonies. Lee, would you like to add to that?
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, um, I, specifically, I was in church on yesterday, and the pastor's sermon topic was turning your nothing moments into something moments. And
Hmm.
I thought in terms of OLL, and now I'm thinking in terms of Mary and all that she do and stuff, because that's exactly what all of us are doing as a result of our experiences and stuff. We're taking those nothing moments and we're turning them into something, and we're helping someone else along this journey as we
Yes.
go. So it was just wonderful. And it made me think, in that term, in that vein and stuff, when again, when I was in church. So I thank the pastor for speaking on that. And I saw the relationship right away. Sometimes you're sitting there and you say, is he talking to me? Well, he was
Yes.
talking to me, and we have to make that connection. And now I'm talking or sharing it with you and sharing it with Mary. We are turning those nothing moments, what we thought or
Yes.
saw as nothing moments, into something moments, and we're helping someone else along the way. It's
Yes.
wonderful and beautiful that I heard you mention earlier, Mary, in reference to the art, how they can, I see that as a form of release also. You have
Yes.
so much going on with you and stuff, but to be able to paint, and I'm sure there are some beautiful, beautiful portraits and stuff that they
Oh,
make as a result of that could go on the market somewhere and make a lot of money
that's
for
the truth.
someone. And they
Yes.
need to
Yes.
do some of that if they're not doing it or so. But that's a beautiful form of release for your
Yes. It
inmates or
is.
your people, your women that are jailed, that they can share and with their families and with the community or so. So I just thank you for all that you're doing. The
Yeah.
time that we have here is not enough time to let everyone know
Oh,
all of what's involved, because I
Yes.
know it goes well beyond what
it's
was said
deep.
here and stuff
Yes.
today. But
Yes.
we are so thankful for you and all that you do. And I just, to God be the glory.
Amen.
Yes. And thank you for your transparency, Mary. And, you know, a
Yes,
lot of people that we help with our lessons learned, they don't want to be identified. They don't want their story out, you know. But I thank you for being transparent. That's what Lee and I are. We're transparent. We're
Yes.
on this learning journey. We are
Yes.
learning as we go along. There are days when it is so painful. But you know what? We learn and we muster through it. And with people like you, we get our support. We find our support in other agencies that we partner with. Florida Restorative Justice, they're another agency that we partner with where they are trying to avoid incarceration.
right.
And those are the
Yes.
groups that people don't know about. So, you know what? Partner with us. And I'm going to still tell you, like right now, I'm a preacher's daughter. And when my father needed something, he was the modern day Moses. So right now, I got a call for 200 volunteers to help us get OLL where it needs to be, to get it into the colleges. I need those volunteers to come from the north, the south, the east, and west and partner with
12
us.
gates.
Partner with us and help
Mhm.
us as we help you and
Yeah.
help those. You know, my father used to always say, you never know what is going to be on your doorstep next.
That's
Amen.
right.
Little did I know when I got that call.
Oh my.
I didn't know what to do, how to react. But you know what? I want to prevent another loved one from going through what I went through. So
Yes.
in order to do that, partner with us. You never know who you might be able to help through OLL.
That's
So
right.
we thank you. We thank you all. And we like to bring
Thank you,
these
Mary.
informative shows to you every other Monday. And next time, we're going to have another great person on to help you. And we're here to support you. You can inbox us. My email address is lk@ourlessonslearned.org. And you can reach Lee at lb@ourlessonslearned.org. We're more than happy to talk with you to help you along the journey. We are your support. If you're dealing with anxiety or trauma, whatever you're dealing with, give us a call, give us a chance so we can turn your situation around. We thank you all. And again, have a great evening. And remember, we're here to help. Have a good evening. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.